stream. That's good. I'll send a link out then. The recorder's going. Good. Yes, I think we're all set. Jason and Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Jason.
Lost him already.
Lost him already.
That bandwidth will get you every time.
Yeah. We'll try and get him back. It's a good job that she's not live or anything like that in there. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Really pain. Where's he gone? Let's see.
The hunt for Jason.
Yeah.
Yes, Ian's quest for Jason.
Oh, he's there. He's on the call, but not there. He's
Probably hearing us.
Oh, he's now saying hello. Yes, hello. You're muted, or maybe. Let's try dropping him and bring him back in. Right. I've dropped his call. Now let's try and bring him back. Which one is he on?
That one.
Okay, that one. Try him on that one.
Are you there? Is anybody there?
No. Let's try the other one. Let's try them on them all. We need buttons to call him on every Skype contact he's got.
All you need to do is set up a Jason group with all of them in.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So we've now got 2 Jasons in the call.
One's more than enough.
Yeah.
But he's listening to every word. Oh, call failed.
Call
No
failed, all of them.
No Jasons in.
Try calling again, he says. Okay, let's try him again. We don't know which one that was. Let's try on that one.
Oh, well, maybe.
We can try on that one as well.
Is it big head or little head?
Oh yeah, there's a difference in the size, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, it's not big head. It's not big head.
No, it's not neither of them.
I sometimes find it easier to call back in rather than you try and call me.
Yeah. Let's try again. This one.
Restart dog. Yeah, that would work.
Restart. Yeah.
That might explain everything. He's got restart dog.
Yeah. Well, okay, Jason, you do a restart bug. I can't tell which call that's which account that's coming from. I can click on it. There we go. So it's the. I still can't tell. It's the big. It's the little head. It's the one that he's messaging from. So remember that for later.
I forgot already.
Right, I'm sending this link out. I'm going to start it going. Okay. Gary, good evening.
Good evening. We've lost Jason, but he'll be back. Actually, we were thinking this. You see, he's a man of many faces, is Jason.
Yes, and I've added his face to the call. Whether he'll actually ever get him on the call is another matter entirely. So.
Yeah, but Jason, this is kind of a history of Microsoft messaging strategy over the years.
Yeah, all the different accounts he's got. Yeah,
and
he's doing a special thing now, though, isn't he? A restart. Did a restart make it work?
It did, yes. It was not to the core. I couldn't hear anything, or I don't know if you could hear me.
No, we couldn't. No.
So,
We started without you by just saying, "Where's Jason?"
and we're just going on saying that you're basically a history of Microsoft's communication strategy.
Yeah, because you've got that many accounts. Oh, Jason.
What was that?
He's gone again.
Was Jason dropping off again, was it?
I think so. You've gone, Jason. Come back.
It's going to be a highly entertaining show where we just try and find Jason all the way through.
Yeah. It could be. Right. Well, so apart from Jason disappearing and we don't know where he is any longer, what else have we got to talk about this week? Well, we did get a new build of Windows 10.
We got several new builds of Windows 10. Got a couple more today as well.
Yeah, we've got a new. He's going to restart again. Need to restart again. It's IE for some reason. Okay, right. Well, don't go on IE. Restart and let us know when you're in.
Yeah.
So, yes, we've got several builds of Windows 10 in different flavors to talk about. What else have we got? We've got all the firmware thing for Windows 10 mobile's gone live.
Yep. Yeah. Jason wants to talk about the things happening in the gaming world.
Yeah. We've got some MB stuff.
Yeah, it's got a lot of MB stuff, some Cody stuff.
Yeah. So we've got quite a busy show. So let's start off with. I know Jason wants to join. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what. First thing we've got is an update from. I think it was from last week's show, actually. So do you remember last week we were talking about. Let's just add Jason back into this while we're. He's going to try. It's his third time lucky. He says.
Ooh, the suspense is killing me.
Still don't know which account he's on.
It's Little Head.
Yes, it is. Which is his messenger on.
It's bad, isn't it? Too many identities. Hello.
Hey,
Hello. It's every time I normally use IE for the chat room and stuff, and every time I start IE, I lose the call. The call's still active, but I can't hear you, and I presume you can't hear me.
Oh, correct.
So IE.
That's not IE.
It's not IE, Jason.
This could be quite interesting, couldn't it? So, how many seconds can Jason speak for?
Yeah. Okay. So it's not IE. So we'll be going through this. I think.
Yeah, we'll
I
have
fault finding as the show goes on.
we'll have 15-second interludes with Jason throughout the show.
Yeah.
So you're
You
saying
don't
about
speak very fast till each second.
he is. Yeah. So you're saying about this
Yes.
email last week.
Yeah. So last week we talked about the converting files so that you can watch from Windows 10, Windows Media Center. He's put, I'm going with me Skype. Okay. So last week we talked about how you can watch Windows Media Center files that are that were now watch them on Windows 10, and as we had an email in from Jonathan Hill saying some things were missing and some things were not working correctly. So I got a message from Mike Grody. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Mike. And he said he's been using MC Buddy.
Oh yeah, that's a really good product.
For doing the automation of moving the files around and then converting them into the correct format. And I said he's been using it from the Coplex, the mcbuddy2x.coplex.com, and then he doesn't remove commercials or anything like that. He just uses it to do the conversion. But he also says there's a new version of it available, but it's $30 for the latest version. But if you're doing a lot of file conversions and things like that, it's probably well worth having a look at, and it's a good way of getting all your Media Center files into a format that's playable in Windows 10 and other formats. So it's well worth having a look at that. So I'll include a link for that in the show notes. And thanks, Mike, for letting us know about that, because I think that's going to be that's quite good. I remember we talked about it in the past. I think I used the original one, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Jason, hello.
Well, isn't it?
Yes.
It's going very well.
You've got 15 seconds to tell us all the news now.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what a nightmare! It just keeps losing all the sound.
Yeah. So you're on Big Skype now.
Yes,
Oh, this Big Skype's working much better.
which then it had to update itself. I did it while it improved my experience.
Oh yes, I
Oh
remember.
yeah,
that.
well, it has improved your experience. That's wrong in 15 seconds.
Yeah, it actually works. It's
What's going on? I used it every week for the last few weeks when we've recorded, but anyway.
That's a bit of an update.
yes, one of the features is removes the ability to use it.
Yes, that's really frustrating.
Well, don't worry, we're just talking about MC Buddy that was recommended by listener Mike for converting media center files, as we were talking about last week.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that last week actually, because I used to use that all the time, but I guess it's because I'm not doing it very often these days.
Yeah, that's it. I'm same here. So yeah, well worth looking at, and you can get the automation going as well. You can do some good stuff with that to skip commercials, do all the formatting and all that kind of stuff. A bit like DBMS Toolbox.
Yeah, that's a massive news. Listened to Josh Pollard on Entertainment 2.0, and they were talking about. I think Richard was saying about any DVDs gone.
Yeah, and it's back.
Oh, it's back now, is it?
under by a different name. It did go because Slicesoft has gone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
They've closed down, which I'm not so worried about from any DVD to point of view. But the clone software I used to use for cloning my ISOs so they appeared as DVDs has disappeared as well.
Yeah, I used to use that pre-Windows 10.
Yeah.
I used to use wasn't it the, I can't remember what it was called now, but it was a way of mounting ISO files.
Virtual clone drive.
That's it, exactly. A virtual clone drive. I used to use that quite a lot for mounting ISO files. Now you don't need it, but I did used to use that.
Yeah,
Yes, I used to use it all the time. I've completely forgotten that was them.
And some people still use it because if they have old operating systems like Home Server and things like that, it's useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Windows 7. It wasn't native, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The now it's now being brought by Red Fox.
Yeah.
Is a company, so it's still available, but Red Fox.
That used to be their logo, didn't it? It was a red fox on the
It was,
DVD.
Yeah. And Red Fox is run by lots of old Slicesoft employees.
Yeah, got you. So, but presumably your license key doesn't carry over, or it does?
Don't know. Never having had one, so I don't know. But
Yeah, because I bought the lifetime, not the Blu-ray version, but just the standard definition, because that's what I needed it for at the time. But yeah, so it's gone but back.
Yeah.
So it was dead like Windows Phone dead.
yes.
Reborn
Yeah.
in something else.
I told you, Windows Phone is dead. Windows Mobile lives.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'll tell you one product that is dead.
What's that then?
The Nook.
Yes.
And they chose World Book Day to announce it.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
and the amount of time I did tweet about it, but it goes dead next week, doesn't it? It's on the 15th.
Yes.
They're closing it at the Nook store.
I have to commend them for what they've done, because I mean we talk about it all the time, don't we? The risk of buying digital content and then having this everything.
Talked about it exactly last week.
Yeah. Yes. And they've done a deal with Sainsbury's, haven't they? So that people could continue to get a.
Yeah. Although it's a little bit awkward because the Sainsbury's book app doesn't run on anything other than the Nook Touch range. So the Simple Glow and all the older Nooks which didn't have the latest version of Android won't run the Sainsbury's app on it. So you're going to have to side load onto those to get your books across if you want to. Although they are giving you the opportunity to get your books across early. And the store hasn't closed down yet. You can still buy books, and they're having a nice sale at the moment. So if anybody wants a few best-selling novels at cheap prices, they are available. But yeah, no, I can commend them for that. At least that means your content's safe and you haven't lost it, and you can download it and side load it. And because they use the EPUB format and Sainsbury's uses that's a fairly straightforward transfer, I would think.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good to see, the consumer being done right for a change, because as we do talk about things disappearing, and and actually Sainsbury's, they've got the whole entertainment package and they support ultraviolet.
Yeah, I think I said the only problem with it is the older Nooks, which basically, unless you are able to do the side loading, and a lot of people put the Nook because it was a really easy way of getting content. My mum's got one, for example, and she's, as I've often said on the phone, show a bit of a technophobe, but she finds it easy to use because it's straightforward. She just brings it to mind, loads of books down on it. Doesn't really think about how that works. Whereas now there'll be quite a lot of gnashing of teeth to get anything onto the system. So it's a bit of a shame in that respect. But there are a lot of custom ROMs out there for the older Nooks now, and you can do things like putting Kingdom onto them. So there are ways and means of getting around this. So the actual devices are still usable. There's an awful lot of people use the old e-ink Nooks as home controlled controllers because they are running Android behind, admittedly a very old Android behind the scenes, and they've actually make fairly decent browsers if you're not refreshing them a million times a second.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use them as very low power consumption, more control devices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we talk all the time about the oddness of the digital industry, but so I've been buying through Blinkbox the extended editions of like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
Now through Blinkbox now Talk TV, I think it's called. Talk TV store. So they've got the extended editions of all the Lord of the Rings films except for The Return of the King. But they all support Ultraviolet because their film studio signed up to it.
Yeah.
But in the Sainsbury's store, you can buy the extended edition of Return of the King with Ultraviolet support, which would then appear in the Talk TV show app. It's just ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very convoluted, all this stuff, isn't it? It's just, it's still not ideal, and I think whether a third party like Ultraviolet is probably the best way, isn't it? Rather than just having a single store that isn't then compatible with something else. But I think it's still not a great solution. I've yet to see a really good solution for movies. I guess the closest is if you get something from Apple or Google, they're probably going to be the longest staying around. And hopefully Microsoft as well, but you don't know, do you?
Yeah, you never know. Well, with the history we've had, you never know.
I mean, it was something I'm definitely in the habit now that if I'm going to buy a film, that I would only buy it if it's got ultraviolet support. And so I've bought some Disney films, mainly Marvel ones, through what was Xbox Video now, just Microsoft Video. But I've avoided buying them, even though there are.
Oh, who you got again?
You ran out of bandwidth.
Or Big Skype's let him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been cut off by his provider.
Cut off by, yeah. So I think
He mentioned any DVD, so his provider's cut him off.
back now.
Sorry, I don't know much of that equal, but I was just looking at the Talk TV store, and actually the extended edition isn't available in their store now.
Why is there no consistency? It is frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's caught, but yeah, basically I haven't been buying some of the Marvel films, even though there are some that I want, because Disney Anywhere is not available in the UK.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, and the Talk TV store does have a really good app. You can download movies to watch offline. The only thing it doesn't do is in the app it doesn't tell you if it includes an ultraviolet copy, which is a bit frustrating. So I end up going to the website just to double check.
So we can call it Disney Not Quite Anywhere.
Yes, yeah, it's a shame, really. I mean, yeah, we'll get into it again. We talk about too much since it is, but yeah, no, it's frustrating. But yeah, I tend to buy stuff only if it's got a digital locker version.
Holiday Boy in the chat room says, late game, what did I miss? You missed me calling and reconnecting about 15 times.
Yeah, 15 times. I think it might be my broadband actually that keeps going.
I think I can hear the crunch on the bandwidth. So yeah, that's what it was then.
I did speculate it was he mentioned having a subscription to any DVD.
Yeah, I blame my phone, which is currently updated. Yeah, Windows 10 technical preview build.
Yeah, that's probably using all your bandwidth.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, I've had some problems because I was actually going to talk on the show how I've realised, and I think I mentioned this previously, but more and more, my Surface Pro 3 is just been amazing to the point where it's become invisible in terms of I just use it, if you know what I mean. I'm not using it in such a way that I'm working around a problem, or I mustn't do that because that will blue screen it, or I need to make sure I run the Hyper-V in a certain way. It's been working flawlessly until tonight. So there you go.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, just when you want it, it's yeah. Oh, mine works fine as well. No problem with that. I mean, like we said before, I never had any problems with it anyway. So, talking of updates, and you're trying to download it, so you know your bandwidth. We've had a few Windows 10 updates in the last week. So let's start.
Yes,
Let's start with the PC build. There was a Redstone build for the PC last week. Have you tried that?
Yeah, running
I've
now.
downloaded it to my VM, but I haven't played around with it too much because it's for the case there wasn't really much to see.
Yeah, so Gareth, you tried that?
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to solve my blue screening I've been having, but it didn't do so. Having said that, I've now tracked it through the logs. It looks like it's the NVIDIA driver, so that's just updated tonight. So let's see if that sorts the problem out.
I put it on my on Core 8 and my Lynx 7, so I don't have it on Surface Pro 3. But like Jason said, not a huge amount of changes with this version. What do you think of the new lock screen? That's sort of very Windows Phone like, or Windows 10 mobile like.
Yeah, although I don't see it because I've got gesture locking, so it doesn't really work for me that way because it goes to my gesture picture.
Right.
But I have seen it on other things, and yeah, you're right. It is without overlapping. It's very Windows Phone-y.
Yeah, I noticed that. The first thing that struck me was, well, that's a shame that they spent so much money developing the Windows 10, that Windows 10 lock screen, because nobody's ever going to see it now.
Yeah, that's true. So if anybody's not seen this, and you can have a look at my video if you want to have a look at it. But when you in Windows 10 currently, so in the Threshold 2 builds and the release builds, you get an image on your lock screen, and then when you swipe or click or whatever, then that goes away and it replaces with the Windows. It's a Windows image, isn't it? That you can either turn on or off. There's no choice on it, and then you enter your PIN or whatever, your password. But in these Redstone 2 builds now, it is the combined lock screen and unlock, just like on Windows 10 mobile. So you get the background image that's sort of trying it. Well, I've noticed it's a bit inconsistent. Most of the time, you do get the image that you swiping up at. So on my tablet here, I swipe up, and the image stays there, and I can enter the PIN. But sometimes I find it goes to like a light blue screen, so I'm not quite sure that must be a bug. But anyway, that's what it looks like now. I'm showing on the screen. It's the swipe up just leaves the image there, and you can then put your password in. So I mean, not a huge change, but I think it does look better. It does make you wonder why they felt the need to change that. Or whether it's a quick fix or something like that, but they've had some feedback. But anyway, what else was in there? Oh, Cortana. Have you tried the new reminders in Cortana?
Yeah, they're interesting, aren't they? I'm not quite sure how they're going to work long term on it, but the idea you can just sort of put remind me to clean the car type thing and not put any time or date to it.
Yeah, it just does it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just sort of pops up and tries to remind you contextually.
Yeah, it's just in your notebook, isn't it?
Yeah, so I guess that in future dates they might do that. As you pass the car wash, it might say, you need to wash your car or something like that. But,
yeah, but I've got one. In fact, it's just popped up on there now. That I put in a geo one for when I was at home to remind me to do something when I get home. And even if, no matter how many times I dismiss it, it always comes back.
yeah.
So it's like always in the notebook. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. You just like remind me to put the bin out when I get home or whatever, and you get home and you do dismiss, then you don't need to be told about it every time, but that's what it does. And it's a bit hit and miss as well. I know it's your location ones, but yeah, so you can just go straight into Cortana. You can do it through the dictation, or you can do it through typing. Just remind me to listen to this week's TDL show, and it'll remind you.
Which all our listeners should do, of course.
In fact, we should try it. Hey, Cortana. See if I can get reminding everybody's phone.
Hey, Cortana, remind people to buy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hate Cortana on their phone. I've had great fun with that this week.
Yeah, I've had that with this latest build on the phone. I found that the Hey Cortana keeps listening because I haven't done training since I last wiped it, so it keeps popping up now. So I've turned that back off again because it'd just be sat on my desk and somebody would be talking, and it would start trying to dictate what they're saying because it must have just heard something that triggered it. So I turned that off. So what else was new in the PC build? They fixed some issues with roaming profiles with Edge and Cortana. And one of the fixes actually is Cortana will continue to show reminders that have been completed. But I don't think that's fixed it because I keep getting that.
Supposed to have, but no.
Yes, yeah, that's right, yeah. And they fixed some issues where downloading certain drivers would cause PC to blue screen. Known issues. I don't know whether this is one of the reasons why I never have the previews on my Surface Pro 3, but they said they're investigating an issue with Surface Pro 3, Surface Pro 4, and Surface Book experiencing freeze or hang when inputting keyboard trackpad. So I don't know if you've had that, but yeah, definitely you don't want that. There's some other minor issues as well. So hibernation is still an issue, isn't it?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, so that still seems to be a problem with the hibernation. So if you turn off hibernation, then that'll be the workaround. Hopefully that'll be fixed in the next build. So that was the PC build. That's installed and up and running on my machine. Seems on my little tablets, and that seems okay. What else? So we've got a new build for Threshold 2 for the release version, the November update.
Yes, quite a few fixes in there, I think. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to actually look at the page, but I saw a few posts about it.
So that's going out to non-insiders, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
The PC one, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the usual cumulative update.
I'm just trying to bring the page up. But it's,
Yeah, me too.
who'll get there first?
Not with Jason's bandwidth and
What's new?
Yeah, improved support for Bluetooth, wearables, and apps accessing contacts, which I guess is the Band 2, I suppose, and others.
Yeah.
Improved reliability in app installation narrator, improved performance for hibernation, content entry in apps and
it improves on hibernation.
yeah. Fixed issue didn't allow login to an Xbox from a PC running Windows 10, which login to an Xbox. That must be the Xbox app, I guess.
Yeah.
Fixed security issue created when attempting to play encrypted content. Fixed issue in so security fixes, .NET fixes, security issue with Edge, Internet Explorer 11. So yeah, so mostly fixes or security related.
Yeah, it's basically it's a patch to the one they sent out last week, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so yes, because there was a March 1st .122 build, which also came out for phone as well. I don't think we've talked about that.
No, yeah.
And yeah, so this week the .164, which they're certainly not necessarily sticking to their patch Tuesday cycle, but then that was always really more business than a consumer anyway. So I think I've always said before with Windows 10, I think it's important to get fixes out there. People are used to installing updates, so
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and these are fairly quick. The last few updates have been fairly quick reboots, haven't they? They've not been the big circle updates.
No, they're patches, aren't they? They're rather than full-blown updates.
Yeah.
Although in this Windows as a service thing, we shouldn't really be thinking about that.
Yeah.
No, and that was kind of what pointed that I was going to say about how well my Surface Pro 3 is performing, because when Windows 10 we're in obviously the insider program, but also with the early consumer, with retail releases, there were still a few little niggles here and there, but just over time, it's almost like Windows Vista in a way, isn't it? Just over time, as long as you keep installing the updates, it just gets better and better. And as I said, I had to the point where I was absolutely, as far as I said, it was kind of close to perfection for me. But then I had my Skype issues tonight. Maybe there'll be a Skype app update soon.
Yeah, we've not had much on the messaging app. I mean, that's one thing that surprised me. The messaging apps, the modern messaging apps that are now a year old in release form, are really still very basic.
Yes, yeah, I think potentially, I guess we might see some really big changes once the Redstone builds start rolling out properly. But
Yeah, with the linked calling and messaging, that kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe that's the case. So the stuff I found, the modern Skype apps as they are very, very basic. So that was for the PC. So we also had a rollout of a phone update today, but this isn't a Redstone update, is it? This is a Threshold 2
Yes.
current branch update.
And this looks like it's going to be the consumer release.
yes, yeah, I think so. I'm just looking on that. So the Windows 10 mobile update history page is still blank, which
It's
is a
not
bit
been
odd.
released yet.
Well, it has.
has,
It's got a
it has,
950 or yeah, a 950 or a 650. So it seems odd that they're not publishing any updates yet. But yeah, I think because we had the 1.122 release last week, didn't we? And in Gabe's post, he actually asked if insiders that were up to the challenge whether or not they would roll back to Windows 8.1 to test the actual upgrade scenario, which I actually decided to do for a couple of reasons, really. One, because I've been thinking about doing a hard reset of my 930 anyway. And then when I put the recovery tool in, it actually detected a newer firmware, so you decided to go ahead and do that. So I actually reverted back to Windows 8.1 for a time, which actually, again, with me, it's always a case of you kind of feel the differences when you go back to an old release.
Yeah.
My intention was to actually stay on Windows 8.1 for a bit, just to see if I felt it was more stable, but there was just little things I just couldn't live without. So I actually ended up rolling it forward, and I was expecting to go straight to the 0.122 release, but actually it went to 107, and then later on in the day I got prompted to install .122. But apart from that, everything went absolutely fine. The only thing I had was that the Hey Cortana settings app was missing. And it took me rummaging around the Windows Answers forum to actually find somebody that posted a link to the actual store app. And I think it's a shame in some ways that you can't find these hidden apps in the store, because sometimes you do need them.
Yeah, I've had a couple of that in the early days of doing the updates, where after an update, certain things would just be not available. Like I think it was Groove app, it just wouldn't work, and there was no way of. The only way to do it was to do another hardware or another proper reset and then have another go.
Yes, yeah, that's it. I mean, but I have to say, since doing that, rolling back and rolling forward to 122, I've actually found my phone to be much more stable. I had a few of my older apps that originally haven't been updated yet for Windows 10, that the live tiles used to stop working, and I haven't noticed that. I mean, it's not been long. I mean, I'm only talking since kind of Saturday, Sunday time, but it does feel more stable.
Yeah, I think it is a bit more stable. I'm still having some issues with the 735, particularly going into notifications, going into messaging, where it will sometimes just hang on the resuming thing for hours. It seems like hours anyway, especially when you're trying to get a text message which is telling you where you're going. I mean, it can. I did time it on one occasion. It was actually 4 minutes before it came up with the messaging screen. It always, if you exit out and come back in, it always comes up quicker. But that's obviously a bug, which is still there. And I've noticed a lot of people moaning about cosmetic issues, and I do think they are. The lack of concentration on cosmetic issues will come back to bite them, because it's what people see. They don't really care what's going on under the hood. But if there's a bit of text which cuts off or anything else, that will always get picked up on.
Actually, interesting. I mean, I'm on the Redstone build on my 950, but there is occasion where you see the letters and they're written incorrectly. Like it's got some weird font on there, like some Arabic font, and it's just like Cortana, but it's got like the O with a line through it or something like that, or but I mean that's in the Redstone, so I take that as just being an issue with the preview builds rather than the release ones.
Yeah, and I often get wording cut off at the bottom, where like it's not scaled properly. And there's a lot of things like that, but there's also general things like the background or the app screen not always, the list of apps not always rendering properly and stuff like that. But a lot of people pick up on those. But I mean, they've done some really good job on performance, and the battery life thing they mentioned in the last build definitely has been improved. I've done some tests on mine, and I'm getting between 2 and 2.5 hours longer on battery life. So that they've definitely done some good stuff under the skin. I just think they need someone. I'm always telling this to my dev teams that those little things which don't bother you as a developer really niggle the hell out of end users, and sometimes you need to fix them. They only take 2 seconds. They may not actually be an under the skin bug, but they only take 2 seconds to fix them.
So the release that came out this evening then is 105.86.164.
Yep.
So this is just for devices on the slow and preview release rings, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
And it does seem fairly certain this is going to be the one which is, unless they find any major bumps in it, this is going to be the one which goes out to the consumers for the older devices.
But if you're on the fast ring and if you've got a Windows 10 mobile device like the 950 XL and you're on the fast ring, then you're on Redstone. But if you're on an older Windows phone that's been upgraded to Windows 10 and you're on the fast ring, you actually won't get this unless you go to the slow or the production ring.
That's right, yes.
And you'd have to roll back to threshold 2.
Well,
yes,
if
you
you
would already be on it though if
yes.
you're on an older device, won't you?
Yeah, because you won't have got Redstone, so you will have been on Redstone anyway with an older device.
Yeah.
So you don't need to roll back.
There's a Microsoft Answers post where they've sort of detailed this a bit clearly. But so if you've got a 1520, you won't be on Redstone anyway, even if you're on the fast ring. But you won't get this 164 builds until you go back to the slow ring.
Yes, and I'd imagine that will also change once they do have an actual slow ring release of Redstone. So if you've got like a 950 XL, if you're on the slow ring or the inside a preview, you would get 164. But eventually, I guess that slow ring will get a Redstone 2 release. Redstone 1 release.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. So, but I'm running the Redstone release, and mine's working quite well. I did have an issue the other day where when I started it up, it just came up resuming and never actually started up properly. When you unlocked it, it just said resuming, and then so I had to do another restart. But that's about it, really. So mine's been okay. But yes, this could well be the release then that goes out to Windows Phone 8.1 users.
And as I said, other than those UI niggles, which aren't niggles but annoying, it has been fairly stable for me, and it's most of the problems I've been having have gone away. I just think that note that will go into text messaging is a to me, it's actually quite a big issue, and I think it's something they should solve, and it's been reported quite a few times.
I've seen that even on the Redstone builds.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing which will drive consumers bat it, and will get them complaining to their operators.
Yeah.
Which won't do Microsoft any good whatsoever. So I think that's one they perhaps ought to have a look at in more detail. I mean, there are interesting ways around it, because obviously you've now got the notification thing which puts text up as they come in. You can reply to them, you never get any delays on that bit. So,
and of course they can deliver updates to the messaging app separately as well.
They can. So they can. So, and it probably is a messaging app thing rather than an underlying thing, although it could be part of the new underlying I forget the terminology for it, but the combined messaging system, which is now part of the telephony standards.
Yes,
which they've implemented in this version. So it could be something to do with that update.
The one thing I've noticed with the 122 build is that the flow shape writing worked in third-party apps like Tweetium, although it was still a bit hit and miss. So it'd be interesting to see if 164 completely fixes that. But one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you two have experienced this, but on my 930, it seems to be very twitchy in terms of sliding over to the all apps list. So if I tap a tile that's kind of towards the right on the right hand side of my phone, very often I find that it just, instead of opening the app, it flicks over to the all apps.
No, I've not seen that. No.
Yeah, I just find it really overly sensitive. The number of times, it takes my press as a swipe, which is a little bit frustrating. But yeah, I mean, definitely since we started reverting my phone and upgrading it again, I've had a much better Windows 10 mobile experience.
You know what, Jace? If it was an Apple device, I'd have to tell you you're pressing it wrong.
Yeah, well, I did think it was me to start off with. I really did, but more and more, and particularly, even having reset the phone, I think it's definitely overly sensitive in terms of a touch being interpreted as a swipe, and I'm sure it is kind of my movement, but it wasn't like that with Windows 8, with Windows Phone 8.1.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that at all on mine. So that's one of those issues. It could be a firmware fix. So I'm interested to see whether they roll out firmware fixes before the Windows 10 upgrade, or whether they just all go together in one.
I think I think the biggest feedback I would give in terms of the my experience of upgrading from Windows Phone 8.1 to Windows 10 Mobile was one really small thing, which was the mail app lost my linked inboxes, so I had to set that up again. And the reason is that the default out the box app is the old version that doesn't have linked inboxes. And so I still feel that after a clean upgrade, which is what most people will experience over the next few weeks, hopefully, that I would have expected those inbox apps to have been, pretty closely updated to the most recent releases.
Yeah, I would as well.
I mean, I had 40 app updates, I think it was, which just, I know they're to be expected. There's no way that the apps can be kept up to date with the operating system in terms of an upgrade, but I just would have expected them to be a lot closer.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So you're saying, so the linked inbox is a feature of the later version or the current version of the mail app, and so you lose that link because at some point you end up on an old version until it goes back. Yeah, I know what you mean. I was just saying with, I think the Groove app is a really old version of it. I remember when I was doing the testing. So yeah, as soon as you've got to go through that upgrade process and get all the apps updated. But normally it's not an issue. But like with the linked inboxes, it would be because it's lost that setting at some point down the right way. But yes, they probably will do that. They probably will update it, won't they, to have the more recent versions of it in the out of box experience.
Yeah, but no, I mean, since that, I have to say that my experience of the last few days has been really good. Apart from trying to get the Hey Cortana app back. But I mean, to be fair, I think that was part of my own fault in terms of, because my Windows Phone 8.1, I chose to restore a backup, which would have been my backup from Windows 10 Mobile. So I think I probably upset things, but I wasn't willing to give up all my lovely layouts.
That reminds me, talking of backups, one of the things that we sort of lamented during the update to Windows 10 from Windows 8.1 was when you got a brand new Windows 8.1 machine PC, and it would ask you if you want to restore a backup. And that's, since we're out to Windows 10, that's not there anymore. But I don't know if you've noticed this in the it's gone. Well, you won't notice this because it's gone. In the last two builds, not in this build, interestingly, the new build, the option to back up the PC was there. The old way of doing it through OneDrive.
Yes. Yeah.
That was there, and it's no longer there. So it was in the last two builds. It's not in this 14279. So I actually got to back up this on Core 8 to OneDrive, and I thought, I wonder if it's just in UI or it actually does do a backup. So I checked it, did the backup, went onto OneDrive, and the backup is there, the most recent version. Now you can't do anything with that backup through OneDrive. It's not really accessible. You can only delete it. And I thought, maybe I'll try restore, but there was no restore option on here. But I thought, that's good. They're bringing that back. But anyway, it's gone. The setting's gone on here. So
yeah, I did hear rumours that they were looking at the idea of doing the same principle as on the mobile, where you can do a backup and then do a hard reset and restore your backup as you come back from the hard reset.
Yeah, I wish they would do that. Yeah,
8.1, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I know they talked about that they'd removed it because it was felt that every device is unique. You could have an 8-inch device, you wouldn't necessarily want the same start screen, as a 12-inch or 15-inch device. But it's nice to have that choice, because if I'm reinstalling my Surface Pro 3, I want my Surface Pro 3 start screen back.
Yeah. Well, that option was definitely there to do the backup in the previous build, or maybe the previous build, but it's now gone.
Unless it's moved to another part of the control panel or setting screen.
Yeah, but it was under backup. There's two sections now: backup with file history and looking for older backup. And last time I checked, there was backup to OneDrive as well. It was just an option just to backup, and it did the backup, and it was there. But I never tried doing a restore. So, and I don't think there was any UI even in Windows 8.1. It was only when you set up a new machine it then prompted you.
Yeah.
I took a week at Redstone builds. There's been some stories this week that Redstone 2 is being delayed till next year. Now, obviously, Microsoft haven't announced this, and they never said Redstone 2 was coming this year, so it's not really delayed. But there was, it was sort of kind of accepted that there would be 2 Redstone releases this year. One in spring, one in probably October, something like there was last year with Threshold 1 and 2. But there's a lot of people now saying that this has been put back to 2017.
Put back? Did we ever have a date?
Oh, no, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really teasing. Yeah, I mean, there's been some talk, isn't there, about it being realigned with some hardware releases. And it's not unusual. For example, Windows Hello in Windows 10, that you need new hardware. So I think that kind of makes sense. I guess you could say it's slightly disappointing that it would have been nice to get 2 significant updates a year. But whether or not there might be a Redstone 1.5 in the meantime, I don't know. And the other way to look at it, obviously, is if you're really keen to keep moving forward, then just become a Windows Insider and test the Redstone 2 builds as they come out.
Yeah, that's right. Like, the other way I did think about it, well, yes, we all like lots of new features, but then, especially as corporates are rolling it out, that maybe not on the long-term servicing branch, so they're just on the standard rollout. It's 2 major updates a year that require the 4 gig download and whatever an hour it is to do the update. It's actually quite a lot of work, and they're going to want to test it, and you've got the bandwidth as it brings it down, and just the actual physical time it takes and things like that. So once a year might be enough for most people, really.
Yeah. As my dad says, can they give him 3 months' notice, please? So he can work it into his busy schedule.
Yeah. I mean, when the updates are actually called, the upgrades, really should class them. Yeah. It's quite a significant process to do, and I think maybe 1 a year would be satisfactory for most people.
Yeah.
And like you say, Jason, if you really want to have that more frequently, then you can go on an insider program. But I'm thinking, if you've got 200 machines that once a year need that 1 hour or whatever it is upgrade time, then that's okay. But twice a year, it's getting a bit. Especially in business time frame, it'll come very quickly.
Yes, yeah, and obviously, once Redstone 1 hits in, whenever it might be, let's say June, July, there'll be these continued monthly cumulative updates. So,
yeah.
There will be changes going on underneath the hood to show that. But yeah, I mean, I think for me the most exciting thing will be to see what hardware comes along in terms of new features. But when might we see a Surface 4, a Surface Pro 5, Surface Book 2?
Yeah, and they could potentially have. I guess there'll be a new Intel processor by that time frame as well. A Skylake replacement.
Or potentially they could be running on non-Intel chips, since there's been rumours of RT coming back again.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, it's funny how these things come around, isn't it?
Yeah. But an RT now, if it was tagged as Windows Mobile, would probably work. Because you could get around that issue of people not understanding the difference, because people know the Windows Mobile stuff exists. I think you could possibly do that.
Well, Windows RT on a small laptop is effectively it's like the HP phone, isn't it, with a continuum laptop?
Yeah, exactly. And I think you could potentially, if you span it that way, and as long as it could run all the UAP. UWP. I get my UWP programs. It would be fine. And I mustn't call them programs because Microsoft are really upset about the use of the word program. Apps. I'm old school.
And of course, what we may hear at Build is more on these platforms, and potentially we could have Windows apps and Microsoft apps running on Linux.
Yes.
On Mac.
Well, Jason's now going to have to learn all about Linux, isn't he?
Yes, so Jason, when you're downloading Red Hat,
Yeah, I was going to say you buried the lead. Yeah, SQL Server running on Linux. I mean, we're talking about it at work today. I mean, that's that's potentially big, a big deal. But more importantly, I think if anybody had any doubts that Windows is no longer the cash cow for Microsoft, then this absolutely underlines that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it underlines the principle that Microsoft now have, isn't it, is to put Microsoft everywhere. Whereas a few years ago we had the Windows Everywhere initiative. Now it's not, is it? It's Microsoft everywhere.
yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The world isn't about operating systems anymore.
No. Well, it will be interesting to see as project plans get presented to the finance directors of, yes, the operating system is free, but the database engine is going to be about $8,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're rolling out even a Windows server with SQL, and SQL's a big chunk of it compared
yes.
to the Windows license.
Yeah, particularly if you want enterprise, with multiple cores, it's the figures get high pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is why a lot of people use Mutazor. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. So maybe now what we're going to see now, Exchange, Active Directory.
Yeah, never say never. I mean, the other thing, just going back to what you were saying before, we're also potentially going to see universal apps running on Xbox.
Yeah,
that'll be something else hopefully revealed maybe at Build. Obviously, I guess that Xamarin will be a big discussion point at Build.
I think the store coming to Xbox is well overdue now, isn't it? And that was promised well over a year ago, wasn't it? And I think that is overdue now. Not all apps are applicable on all platforms, but it is certainly nice if a company like a project like MB, they don't need special permission like Plex have managed to get onto Xbox, but that's because someone at Microsoft wanted it, and that kind of relationship. Whereas MB can just put it on and VLC, and we can get all the things on there, and it's another platform that expands the range or the scope of a Windows application. So why not make it a universal app and then you can pick up Xbox and phone and Continuum and on these new devices. So I think it's something that needs to happen, and I think Build would be a good place to announce that store availability.
Yeah, and hopefully things like the BBC iPlayer app on Xbox could be converted into a universal app, which means then it would be available on the other platforms as well. But I still hope for the Xbox that the store will be curated in some ways, because I just don't want on my Xbox to have thousands and thousands of apps to choose from.
No, I agree with that. I think it's too many apps now already. So,
yeah,
but they are talking about changing the way they're sorting that. Anyway, just on the side there, talk about MB. They released a nice new updated product this week, didn't they?
Yeah, so they've released what they call it, the MB Theatre, don't they?
Yeah.
So MB Theatre goes back really to the original MB on Media Center.
It does, yeah.
Media browser on Media Center. So this is the 10-foot interface for MB, and they've completely rewritten it in HTML. And I have to say, it looks really nice. And there's actually 2 versions available of it as well now. There's a dedicated Windows version, and a web only or an online version of it that you can try at tv.mb.media and give that a go as well. And that works in Chrome, Opera, Firefox, and Edge.
Yeah, and it's HTML5, isn't it? So it's got all the live streaming stuff and everything, and it's very fluid and very well designed. It is one of the better web apps I've seen in a long time. So very impressive.
Yeah. So MB is a great system. I've got all my content stored on one server here, and I've actually got MB and Plex client running on it. And depending on what I'm doing, I just choose whichever client I prefer. But I do like that. This is a very nice interface, and wouldn't it be nice if they could get this ported over to run on Raspberry Pi?
Well, you could run it on Raspberry Pi now. That'd be HTML5 for us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder how well that would work. I'd have to give that a try, but certainly it would work well on any PC. So, and a very nice Media Center type interface that's not dependent on the operating system.
Yeah, and because most people running Pis use some form of Kodi, and we've just had the Kodi 16 released a couple of weeks back, and there's been an update to that as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, there's Kodi. There's just been a maintenance release on that. In fact, did you see today that they've they launched, or they've announced that the next version in Cody 17, there's going to be 2 new skins.
Yeah, so a 10-foot one and a touch skin, which both
Yeah.
look really nice, I have to say. I'm not sure about the name of them though, because there's just a 10-foot one called Estuary.
Yeah. It's Essex.
Yeah, it does go with some South London Essex accent.
Yeah.
I can do that because my family come from out there. But yeah, so I think that's. But they look really, really nice. Again, very well designed, and Cody's come a long way.
Yeah, and that skin that's in Cody's been the default since 2009.
Yeah, so it's nice to see something new coming along.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of skins available for Cody, let's be fair. There's been a lot of user contribution ones, but this is, I think, the first big change from the team themselves, and it looks really good.
Yeah, so there's plenty of choices now, and that Cody works on a huge range of platforms, and you've got live TV support in there, and APGs and the whole works.
Yeah, I actually use it as a full screen interface for the home automation system, which is running on the same Raspberry Pi box as the home automation system is now.
Yeah,
that works quite well.
Oh, just one final app I do want to mention. I did a review of last week. Is we've talked a few times, in fact, included in the book, and how to use things like Google Music with Windows 10, which really Google don't make all the way to make it that easy for you. There is a web user interface for Google Play Music, which is okay, it's fine, but there's no offline support. And developers come up with a third-party app called Gear Music Player. In fact, it's been around for iOS and the Mac for a while. He's just ported it over to Windows. And you can sign in with your Google account, and you don't have to have a subscription. If you don't, you can just access your own content. If you do, then you can access all the Google Music service. And it supports offline playback, and it's not a modern app as such. It's a traditional Win32 app. It'd be nice if you could port it over. I did ask him about that. So, but yeah, you can get access to all your content, your playlists, your auto playlist, your instant mixes, all the kind of things you can do Google Play Music, and you can listen to it online and offline as well. And I think it's a very nice little program. That's $6. It's a nice way of getting all the Google Music on your PC, and it works on Windows 10 without having to use the browser version, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
And I think our own Groove Music app was updated, wasn't it? There's some playlist fixes.
Playlist fixes, yeah, there's nothing major behind the scenes. And obviously the TV app was also updated, wasn't there? Some...
Oh yes, it supports external subtitles.
Yes,
files.
which is very good. Yeah, I think we might have mentioned that last week, actually. I'm not sure.
Yes, I think we might have done. Yeah, but I know that's something that a lot of people ask for, is especially if you download your own content and you need subtitles, then yeah, you can apply your own subtitles files, because there's a lot of there's a lot of database of subtitle files out there, aren't there? So you can actually just download one for your file. So I think that's just about everything we've got time for this week. So Jason, you can go back to downloading updates now.
Yeah, my phone's all finished updating, so that all went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, you did get less croaky as it.
You did, yeah. You can definitely.
Yeah, you can tell your bandwidth.
Yeah, you can. Well, you can go and download Red Hat now, then, or Fedora Linux, or whatever, CentOS, or whatever you feel like.
Yes.
It does. Actually, just one quick final thing on what we're kind of the build. This whole thing was aberrant because of its mono roots, which is basically Linux. You could actually see universal apps, Windows platform apps appearing on Linux as well.
Yes, I thought that. Yeah, because that was the whole point, wasn't it? The mono was the framework on Linux.
And it moved away from that and became apps, but it's still got those roots. So yeah,
maybe that's what we'll see.
Interesting stuff.
Absolutely. So, Jason, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DatabaseJace.
And Gary, where can we find you, and what have you got on Fascinating Tech?
We can find me on Fascinating Tech, fascinatingtech.com. The new issue will be out at the end of this month. We've got a lot of nice, cool things. I've been reviewing a Acer Predator gaming rig this week, which has been quite good. Not a sort of an ultimate gaming rig, but one targeted at end users, and got slightly addicted to a racing game. Killed a lot of other drivers. It was quite basic. I did actually win one of the races, I'll have you know. I did, yeah. So that's, but it's been quite impressive actually. The frame rate's been really, really good. It just shows you what's happened in the PC gaming world in the last 5 or 6 years, and how it's. No, Jason was saying about that last week. It's a lot easier sometimes just go and buy a console to get things running. But I threw everything at this thing, and it just seemed to batten it on. And it's not hugely expensive either.
Yeah, actually, they were talking, weren't they, about, I think Phil Spencer was tweeting, you know, you could see the Xbox being upgradable, like you know, or being able to keep up. I think when it was Xbox being able to keep up with PC gaming, and I think many of the sites seem to kind of take that as being upgradable hardware, but actually, I think that the future is not having a games console under your TV at all. It would just be a small box that actually just streams the games, and that's how they keep up with the PC industry.
Yeah, well, that must be. I was using Steam for most of this testing, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like an Azure cloud where it's actually rendering it, which is what that I forgot what it was called now. There was a service to try that, didn't they?
Yeah, it was
Online?
online,
yeah,
which Sony actually purchased, and I'm sure, you know, I mean, Microsoft you could almost argue with Microsoft already testing that with Windows 10 streaming from an Xbox One. So why couldn't that Xbox One sit out on the internet, or, you know, like you said, be Azure powered completely? So that's my suspicion of what he meant. He's thinking software / streaming rather than actually, you know, opening up the Xbox. And because I know Josh Follow was saying his concern was that, as you just said, Gary, you know, you buy a disc, you put it in the Xbox, you know it will play. Whereas if they start to diverge the hardware, then you kind of you back to PC gaming. Whereas if you do it as a streaming service, then everyone wins.
Yeah, I think that this could be a good subject for next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
If only your bandwidth limited.
Yes. Well, you know, in the next 10 years, I might actually get some super fast broadband. You never know.
You never know. Well, on that note, we shall leave it till next week. As always, should be back 9 p.m. UK time in the chat room. And you can get me in at thejustlive.com or at iSticks on Twitter. Please keep messages coming in. We do like getting them. Thanks to anyone that sends a message. It's always good to pass those on. So until next week, we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Great stuff. All right.